Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
I urge everyone in Hurricane Milton's path to follow all safety instructions as we head to the next 24 hours. It's literally a matter of life and death. Second, for the last week, my team has done everything possible to prepare for this storm. I immediately approved emergency declarations in Florida and the Seminole Tribe in Florida. I also surged search and rescue teams, water, food, power generators, ambulances to the region. In my direction, Administrator Criswell will be in the State Emergency Operations Center in Florida tonight. And Kamala and I are going to keep pressure on the companies so prices stay stable on gasoline, flights, and goods people need. Finally, we're teaming up with state and local officials to support impacted communities. I spoke with the Florida Governor DeSantis, with Mayor Tampa Castor, the Tampa Mayor, the Clearwater Mayor, Rector, and the Pinellas County Chairwoman Peters. I offer them everything we need, everything we have, everything they need. And I made it clear to them they should reach out if there's anything more they need. I gave them my personal phone number here at the White House to contact me directly if that's necessary. Let me close with this.
Wow.
I want to thank the governors of all the affected areas over the last couple of weeks. Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia. You know, we've been in constant contact, and they've been very thankful and appreciative of the help the federal government is providing. And I'm appreciative of all they're doing as well. And I've told them to contact me with anything else they need. We have made available an unprecedented number of assets to deal with this crisis. We're going to continue to do so until the job is done.
Yes, that is what a president is supposed to do, except that if we had, you know, the one that we had before this one, then what we would get is paper towels being thrown at people after 3,000 people died in the storm, and then him declaring that it was just, you know, a crappy country anyway, even though it's ours, you know. Anyway, okay, so here's the thing. This Hurricane Milton is, it's very powerful. It's not as wide, it's not as big as Helene, but it is equally as daunting, it is equally as dangerous, it is equally as deadly in its own weird way, okay? So here's a little bit about the hurricanes, okay? This is just so, if you don't live where I am sitting, I mean, I can't believe we're still here, but we're still here. What you need to understand is that hurricanes, it's like I was explaining, you know, how ice skaters, you know, get speed going, like how they do the spins and stuff. So what do? They're on the skates, right, and they're trying to spin, and so they're pulling their body in like this, pulling with all the muscle. I mean, with purpose, okay, and getting themselves nice and tight. The centrifugal force that's brought into the center of you actually makes you spin faster. So that's what makes a Category 5 hurricane, when you have a nice, tight eye wall that is completely, you know, symmetrical and round, and it's pulling in like this. So when you see these littler storms, you know, smaller storms that aren't as, wide as Helene was, what was that, 400 and some miles across? That was humongous. That's why everybody, north of it, everybody east of it, everybody west of it, everybody that was near it. That's why so many states flooded. That's why you have East Tennessee affected and Georgia affected. Jimmy, my ex-husband, he used to live up the road from me in Jupiter, and him and my sister wife Jeanette, they just moved to Savannah, and I was thinking, oh, lucky him, right in the middle of hurricane season, he's out of here and he's safe. And oh my God, his property got wiped. They lost almost every tree on their enormous property. They have, animals and stuff there. Jimmy, even though he's from Jersey, wants to be a farmer. He just does. Jeanette is from Liverpool. She wants to farm. So they have pigs with the best names of pigs I've ever heard in my life. They have these two giant pigs. One is Kevin Bacon, and the other one is Piggy Smalls. And, you know, they're very happy up there. However, their entire property was decimated by Hurricane Helene. They didn't have electricity for 4 freaking days, and they were in Savannah, okay? And that was not in the path. So that was just a very wide, very wet storm. This one is tighter and it's faster, meaning the winds are faster. However, above the clouds of a hurricane, there's atmosphere. There's all kinds of air up there. And the air that is in the Midwest and sinking down to around where we are in Florida is very, very dry. Thank God. And that very dry air is shearing the tops of those giant thunder clouds, because that's what a hurricane is, a bunch of thunderstorms mashed together around an eye that gets very tight. So when the shear actually starts to shear the storm apart, the dry air actually starts to have an effect on the hurricane. What it does is it actually makes the eye less stable, less tight. And as the eye widens, just as if you were an ice skater and you were opening your body after the spin, the spinning gets slower. And the storm, however, gets wider. And so that's why you're seeing people say that, it's coming in. It actually went down from 150, well, it was 164 mile an hour winds. That is a Cat 5 hurricane, okay? That is catastrophic. You cannot, it's like if you're in its path, whatever structure you're in is going to get decimated. It's going to be, wiped away. So it's not a 5 anymore. It's gone from 165 mile an hour winds to 145 mile an hour winds. Woo! What a load off of my mind, right? I mean, listen, and if you don't want to believe me that this is really dangerous, then go ahead and alter reality. Go ahead and see how you do in your alternate universe that Marjorie Taylor Greene is creating for you. Just see how that works for you, because it won't. But just go ahead. Throw in with her. You know what she's saying, don't you? She's saying that this is manufactured, that this storm is literally being created by the deep state in order to suppress red state votes. Swear to God, because she's crazy. That's why. She's nuts. We cannot have people like her and Matt Gaetz and Gosar. We cannot have people in Congress, that say these things or believe these things. I mean, I'm so sorry, but then whatever your lot in life is, you deserve it. If you keep putting these same people back over and over. Well, I think Congress sucks, but I like my congressman, who happens to be Marjorie Taylor Greene. Things suck, but I like my congressman, who's Matt Gaetz, who's, from the same little town that, what's his face, The Truman Show was filmed in. Seaside, northern Florida, getting pounded, decimated, dismantled. Where are these people? North Carolina's lieutenant governor. Where's he? Where's Mark Robinson? Where is he? They want to complain, they want to lie, they want to bitch, they want to moan about the recovery effort from these 2 back-to-back massive, massive storms. But I don't hear anything from, the guy that's asking you to vote for him for governor, the lieutenant governor currently, Mark Robinson, the guy that Trump endorsed. The least he could do is, throw paper towels or straight to VHS porn movies. Yes, I said VHS because that's his era of porn. Oh, my God. So when the President of the United States of America has to get on the television, which just happened, to tell people this isn't man-made, this isn't a created storm, nobody went around and, went like that to put this massive, Mother Nature's wrath in your way in order to suppress your vote. That did not happen. So please get out or die.
Clear. All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
just got this in from the Hurricane Center. Pressure's up a little bit at 9:44. It's moving to the north-northeast at 16 miles per hour. North-northeast is coming more towards the Tampa Bay area than it is towards Sarasota. The latest forecast track here from the Hurricane Center has it starting to turn more towards the northeast and then eventually east-northeast. And there's a cold front sitting right about here. It's stalled out. And so and then there's actually some upper level energy coming down, and that's supposed to push together and help it to make this turn. Right now, they're still going around 125 mile per hour winds at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm thinking landfall is before midnight now. It was about 1 to 2 in the morning. I don't think that's the case. I think it's 10, 11 o'clock. I think the surge, as a result, starts coming up 8, 9 o'clock tonight. It's going to be a little bit earlier. And then you can see it does move off towards the east. Here are the forecast models. For what it's worth at this point, they're basically honed into this area. That's, well, Sanibel down here. You got Fort Myers, and you got Northport, Port Charlotte, and then you come all the way up here to Anna Maria Island, sitting right about there. All right, so that's the thought on the forecast models. Here is, let me back that up for you. Here's the satellite radar. There's the eye, and here's the latest forecast as of 2. You can see right there over Sarasota. The eye is going to be very close to that. Notice most of the heaviest winds are right here on the north side of the eye. So where this goes in, that would mean that Bradenton, Anna Maria, although it would be offshore a little bit, be southeast and then east to northeast, but that's where we're going to get some of the highest winds in that leading edge of the northeast quadrant of that eye wall, and that's going to be pushing in as we go through this evening. Guys, this thing right now is moving to the northeast at 16, so I'm going to do live math on TV.
I did it too.
So, like, what do you got? 3, 18, 40, it's about 40 miles. So you're talking 3.5 hours until this area right here gets very close to the coast.
Thank you.
Okay, 3.5 hours, 6 o'clock.
Producers.
So this is definitely speeding up in time. So 6 to 7 o'clock, the leading edge of that eye wall will be getting in here. The landfall for hurricanes is generally when the center, well, it is, when the center comes on shore. So that'll be a little bit later than that. But 5, 6, 7 o'clock, weather's really starting to go downhill here.
Okay, gotta go. Holy crap. We thought 10 o'clock at night, right? Didn't I did the math too, right? They were giving me, you know, it was 130 miles offshore, moving at 16 miles an hour. We did math. We said, okay, we got 8 hours, right? We got 8 hours. We're going to do a show.
We're not even mentioning the tornadoes that already touched down not too far from us.
Yeah, that's another fun part of it. We had a tornado in Pembroke Pines for people in Broward. Get out! And there was this one humongous one, and you know, this is freaking Florida. We had a humongous tornado in Clewiston, wherever Clewiston is. Have you ever?
Unfortunately, and I don't mean to disparage
I've never been to Clewiston.
There's certain parts of Middle Florida that I'm just not really interested in ever visiting again.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of people scattered all about this state that you know are just.
We may be down in Florida, but sometimes you can hear that banjo from Deliverance going in the background.
Oh, please, Floribama? Hello. It's actually called Floribama. What do you think you're going to find in Floribama besides for alligators and inbreds? Honestly.
Okay, that's a little harder than I was ready to go.
Oh, please. Alabama world. I'm not like how they say. I'm not Florida white trash. Oh, right, okay. Where do you want to go? Cancun? I just got slammed too. But yeah, we laugh. It's not funny, okay? This is like the president of the United States and the next president of the United States, the real next president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris. She was also on the TV today trying to tell people, get out, just go, save your life, save it.
As the president said, we've been working around the clock to prepare for Hurricane Milton and to ensure that people are safe, including ensuring federal, state, and local resources are being coordinated in a smart and efficient and effective way.
Oh, there's an idea.
We have also been in constant contact with the leaders in Florida to make sure that we are cutting any red tape that might get in the way of getting relief to folks, to make sure also that communities receive the resources and the support that they need as quickly as possible. Already, we have sent more than 1,000 federal personnel to be on the ground in Florida to assist with what needs to happen in the state to prepare for this hurricane, and we will continue to scale up those efforts. To the people of Florida, and in particular, the people of the Tampa region, we urge you to take this storm seriously. As has been said before, this is a storm that is expected to be of historic proportion. And many of you, I know, are tough, and you've ridden out these hurricanes before. This one's going to be different. And so we ask you that by every measure, understand it's going to be more dangerous, more deadly, and more catastrophic. So please listen to your local officials. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. And if you are told to evacuate, please evacuate immediately. Do not wait until it is too late. And in the hours and days ahead, President Biden and I and our administration will continue to do everything we can to protect the people who have been in the path of this storm. And once the storm has passed, we will be there to help folks recover and rebuild, as we continue to do for those communities in Florida, Georgia, North and South Carolina, and across the Southeast who have been devastated by Hurricane Helene.
Yeah, she sucks. I mean, there's no comparison to what is coming out of that pie hole and what's coming out of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's White House. Is there? No, there is no comparison. There really isn't. I mean, Elon Musk's cars are catching fire. Do you know that? Do you know that people, the instructions this year for what you need to do if you're staying, okay? If you're staying, I mean, there's a whole list of, crud that you have to do. Like you have to fill up your bathtub. People are like, why do I have to fill up my bathtub? I don't understand. What's the point of filling up my bath? What? Am I going to drink bath water? No, it's to flush your freaking toilet. That's what it's for, especially for people who have well water and live with water pumps that will not pump. They will not work. Know why? Electricity. There isn't any. So that's what, you want to flush your own damn toilet, right? Fill your bathtub up. Have a bucket, baby. This is what we're talking about. I mean, it gets real primitive around here. It gets real basic. You're talking you need a little portable camping stove, okay? With canned food atop the portable stove after about 4 days with no electricity. You understand what I'm saying to you? The old people that are, that already, we lost a whole bunch of old people in Helene. Yeah, we did. There were 200 plus deaths from Helene. And you know why? I'm not leaving. Who needs it? This is God's waiting room. I'm waiting. If he wants me, he'll take me. He took you. And you drowned. What a nasty, miserable way to go. I'm ready. Take me. I mean, really, we lost over 200 people already from Helene. And here comes Milton. Could they give it more of a and there's Donald Trump going, blame the Jews, with a storm named Milton.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Tucked away deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains, Asheville, North Carolina was considered a little slice of paradise. Some called it a climate haven, suggesting it was immune to extreme weather. But last week, that paradise turned out to be an illusion.
Oh my God.
Helene battering the area for days, ripping apart homes, washing out roads, toppling trees, and cutting off entire towns. New research out this week says there is strong evidence human-driven climate change strengthened Helene's destructive power. One study saying it made the storm's rainfall up to 20% heavier and its winds 7% stronger.
We're seeing these events that are boosted by climate change, stronger, wetter, lasting longer.
Another report found that a warmer climate led to 50% more rain over parts of the Carolinas and Georgia than would have been expected.
When I hear these people talking about global warming, that's the global warming you have to worry about, not that the ocean's going to rise in 400 years an eighth of an inch and you'll have more seafront property, right, if that happens. I said, is that good or bad? I said, isn't that a good thing? If I have a little property on the ocean, I have a little bit more property. I have a little bit more ocean.
If the sea rises, do you have more beach or less beach? First of all, okay, just the obvious. Number two, he lives on Ocean Boulevard, okay? That is the name of his street. This is a terrible person. He's a garbage human being. Please, I can't. And the amount of lies that have gone on about FEMA not being there and nobody's going to come get you and, they just suck. And Joe Biden and, he's defending Brian Kemp for some reason. Brian Kemp in Georgia is doing a really good job, but North Carolina, just not good. There's no one there. They don't have any people there.
They don't have any people here. The people are all... I was in North Carolina yesterday. I was in Georgia. And Georgia's different. You have a good governor. He's doing a very good job. But North Carolina is a disaster. And it was also hit very hard. But they don't have the people. And they're complaining there's no people around to help.
This swirling vortex of disinformation is beginning to affect people there on the ground. I had an officer come up to me and say, why are they saying we aren't doing anything? In fact, this is demoralizing to all of the people who are working so hard. Those first responders who went into people's homes and pulled them out of windows in swirling waters, people who are working around the clock to get oxygen bottles and insulin to people in the remote, rugged areas of the mountains. The people who are working to get the power back on. We've gone from 1 million to about 140,000 power outages. People who are working to restore communications and water systems. And you're also making some people wary of applying for aid and relief because you have these crazy stories about FEMA coming in and taking people's land and stopping donations from coming in.
It's such needless lying about people as they're suffering, which is exactly when Donald Trump loves to pounce. This is when he loves to misinform, disinform, and tell people that somebody else is getting what you're not getting. And you're not getting any help because your governor is a Democrat. I mean, this is crazy. This is madness. It's cruel, actually, but cruelty is the point of him to begin with. I mean, the more desperate he becomes, the darker his rhetoric, the more discombobulated his logic, where, as the seas rise, you'll have more beachfront. What? You live on the beach. If the sea rises in front of Magaloko, do you have more beach or less beach? Right, less. What the hell are you talking about? You live there. And it's just... So listen, here's the whole point. We only have 28 days, 27, 26 days by the end of this week until we vote, and count. A lot of people are voting. It's early voting today. I think in Arizona it starts. So there's early voting in a lot of places. Some places vote completely by mail. Okay. Lucky you. And the idea of not being here, for every single day, while, the weeks get shorter and shorter, we only have 3 weeks before we count the damn votes, and we find out just how much violence we're about to endure. Because I really believe she's going to win. And I really believe that he's already priming the pumps for people to do bad things to other people. I really feel it. I don't know if it'll just be here and there and willy-nilly, maybe just a kink in the slinky. I said that wrong the other day. I got more email about that than any other thing.
I wonder what you got, if you got more emails than I got calls. It was unreal.
Oh, you never told me.
Look, we're moving forward, but
come on! I could have corrected it right then and there, and not have had to go through 8,697 emails saying, "Oh, Slinky," because I said Swinky, and they said no,
I thought you meant
Slinky.
I thought you meant Slinky, and you were just kind of getting it.
No,
it was coming out
I
a little
said it
wonky.
5 different times, and I said it wrong, but I thought that's what he said, and I just thought it was like a herky and your caducee, where, that's just made up crap. A herky and your caducee, by the way, people are like, what the hell was that? So that's when you have a pain somewhere in an area that you're just pointing to, okay? Like typically it'd be your gluteus maximus or the lower back or something like this. You say, oh, I got a herky in my caducei, right? Just a random area of your body has pain. That's a herky in your caducei. And my grandmother always had a herky in her caducei. And I would say to her, well, why don't you use the who's this, what's this on it? And she understood that I meant the heating pad. It's just how we are. But I never heard a kink in the slinky. I never heard that. And so I thought he said kink in the swinky. I had to sit there and answer 5,892 emails going, oh, that makes so much more sense now. Now I understand the expression because my expressions don't make any sense. And I'm used to that. See? But yeah, no, if you would have gotten calls and told me, I would have corrected it right then and there. You could have saved me so many hours.
I was telling everybody, rapid fire, telling all the callers, she said slinky. She just got it mixed up on the way out. And we didn't, well, there you go. I thought you.
Swinky.
Yeah.
Over and over.
It's a little miscommunication.
Well, I hear the producers now talking to the weather guys going, here, Steve, here's the new update. Here it is. You know, everybody's producer is talking to them now because things are changing so freaking fast. But okay, so let me finish my thought here. So I am pretty sure, and this sucks really badly, that we're not going to have electricity around these parts tomorrow, okay? I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping, God love the lineman, the Wichita lineman, he's still on the line. I love Glenn Campbell. I've always loved. I watched his whole Alzheimer, decline. They made a movie. It was touching. Scared the piss out of me because that's my biggest fear. Not the hurricane and drowning, which should be, but no, it's the Alzheimer. But anyway, the linemen are the people that get your electricity up and running. I know there's 1,000 federal people here. I don't know how many linemen are left. Because I was stunned by how fast they got North Carolina back online. I mean, these linemen must be coming from every nook and cranny in there. Maybe the Wichita lineman is still on the line. So I don't think we'll be here.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
It's a violent force that you want to avoid at all costs. Storm surge, basically water piling up inside and ahead of the hurricane that eventually gets slammed onto shore. In this ABC News virtual view, we can see that in the center of the hurricane, as pressure falls, water levels rise. All that water piling up while it's still over the open ocean. As a hurricane closes in on land, the strong winds push that water toward the coast, and it has nowhere left to go but up and inland. This is what it might look like inside a home taking on storm surge. The water approaching quickly and viciously, entering your home and quickly climbing. And when storm surge combines with high tide, the rapid rise in water can actually move a home.
Something I watched with my own eyes in Hurricane Michael in 2018.
I just saw something I have never seen in real life. I saw an entire home taken off of its foundation and rolled down the street.
Another critical reason you might want to leave? The wind. Just this summer, the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety is showing GMA its hurricane simulator and what it can do to a home when it's dialed up to a Cat 3.
A 3?
125-mile-per-hour winds. Chunks of the roof ripped off.
A 3?
The ceiling collapsing. Exposing the home and anyone inside to the full wrath of the storm.
A 3.
That dangerous wind, not just obliterating the roof. This 2x4 cannon reminding us what deadly flying debris can do when it's launched by a hurricane. Piercing through the window, the bed, the wall, and even the couch on the other side.
Great.
With windows so vulnerable in a hurricane, experts shared this advice. As you leave, close all interior doors. It can help contain the wind to just that part of the house and limit damage.
With storm surge, just a mile or two can make all the difference in the world. And guys, you know I do that show, Hearts of Heroes. We have so many stories about first responders that have risked their own lives in storms like this. If for anyone else, do it for them and get out before the storm comes.
Get out. It's too late now. I have news for you. If you were in an evacuation area on the west coast of Florida, if you were in, I don't know, on Anna Maria Island, like, my mailman's brother's uncle's cousin's friend lives on Anna Maria Island, and they said they were going to ride it out. Like if that's, if you're 6 degrees of stupid separating you from that, you now are stuck there. You're stuck there, okay? And here's the way it goes. These are the rules, okay? This is crazy. When the wind is at 45 miles per hour, no one can come rescue you. That's right. 45 miles per hour could be 1 o'clock in the morning in the dark, and your roof got blown off, and your car is on fire in the garage because it's a Tesla, and the salt water has interacted with the lithium battery in a bad way, and your house is now on fire. Guess what? No one's coming. And Donald Trump will blame it on the Jews. And so will Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the storm is named Milton, which is very unfortunate from my point of view. Do you want to see what 12 to 15 foot storm surge looks like? The Weather Channel did the most. And I hope people are watching it that, were told to leave who didn't. Because this is what you're going to be facing, okay? This is crazy.
Imagine this. Imagine 3 feet of storm surge right here. Now, if this amount of water catches you by surprise, it's too late to evacuate. Cars are floating around and floating away. There's large objects in here that could knock things down with a battering ram-like force. Now, there's no way, again, to evacuate with this kind of storm surge. But we know there's going to be places with more than 3 feet. Oh. Imagine 6 feet of storm surge.
Oh, my God.
Now, this completely floods out the first floors of homes and businesses, and the only way to escape that is to move to the higher floor of a building.
Oh, my God.
Now, unfortunately, there are going to be places that get more than 6 feet of storm surge flooding. Imagine this, 9 feet and even beyond of flooding, of inundation. This is practically not survivable. So please follow the advice of your local officials when they ask you to evacuate.
Too late. Wasn't that a great simulation?
That was awesome CGI. It was like funded by Disney or something.
It was the Weather Channel.
I mean,
I love the Weather Channel. If you've ever had, like major weather things happen, the Weather Channel. You go there. Jim Cantori's got to be in Sarasota, like right freaking now. He's got to be. But that was great. Wasn't that great?
Looked like something out of the MCU.
Terrifying.
Great CGI.
So here's the thing. Okay, so if you got 15 foot, this only went up. His stopped at 11. Okay, his only goes to 11. But if you got 15 feet of storm surge and you don't have a 2-story house, well, you died hours ago. That's number one. Number two, if you do have a second floor, you will be on your roof. Now you know why people are on the roof. I think that there are a lot of people who have never experienced a hurricane who are now about to because they moved here during COVID. Oh, yes. They moved here for the awesome leadership of Ron Death Sentence. And so what we have now is a lot of people from the Midwest living in Tampa, Sarasota, living in Punta Gorda, all these, barrier islands, Treasure Island. Maybe you saw some photos of Helene and Treasure Island, which is, one of the barrier islands on the west coast of Florida. It was the one where you saw all the pleasure boats, not the yachts or anything fancy like that, because they have Trump signs on them. No, these were like ordinary people that, always dreamt of having access to a nice motorboat and perhaps, a little oceanfront. So they came from the Midwest, okay? They got here, and all their boats were slammed up against their homes. Like just so much, trailer trash, really. So those people that didn't leave those areas, nobody's going to come. If the storm surge is anything like what it seems to be, then it comes down to just this little factoid, okay? Where does this storm make landfall, right? If it comes in south of the big population center of Tampa and St. Pete, right? If it comes in just south of that, then the counterclockwise rotation of the storm will actually pull the water out from the bay. It will pull the water out and away from Tampa and Sarasota. If it comes in directly at Tampa and Sarasota, that's it. game over. But if it goes just south of them, they might dodge the bullet. They just might. But it's got to go somewhere. And so the next big population center just south of Tampa St. Pete is Sarasota. Now, I have a friend that just moved there from the East Coast of Florida, just moved to Sarasota. Good luck with that. Holy crap. So there's just no place to avoid. There's just no place you can go. Like I said, Jimmy moved to Savannah. He's got damage that is, and nobody provides flood insurance except the federal government anymore. Now, Ron death sentence, we were just like beside ourselves here in Florida because he's done everything about ending woke. He's done everything about banning books. He's done everything about, hating on transgender kids who are about 2% of our population. Just focus on them. They're the problem. You know what I'm saying? But he did nothing about homeowners insurance. He did nothing. Nothing. And what are we in the midst of right now? Right now we're in the midst of the insurer of last resort, which is our government insurance company here in the state of Florida called Citizens Insurance, literally offloading over 600,000 insurance policies to companies that probably can't even cover the damage, that don't have the reserves to pay you. Hey, it's going to be great, right? Let's put more of these people in positions of power. Let's do that. Now, the reason why he got reelected is because we had this unbelievable hurricane called Ian, and Ian hit a lot of the rural places in Florida. And Ron death sentence went out there. Remember, he was wearing his M&M white go-go boots. Do you remember that look that he actually picked out of his closet for a photo op, knowing that was going to be captured in time, forever? And he chose almost thigh-high white wellies. I mean, what was he thinking? Oh, that's right, he doesn't. He just goes for the photo op, and it's like everything else is like, he uses his fingers for pudding and all that. Okay, so they thought he did a good job because he showed up in these little tiny towns with like 4 people that had damage, and he was able to help 4 people who had damage. Now you're talking about 3 million people that are going to get decimated, and that's just in Tampa St. Pete if it hits there. Sarasota, a little less, maybe 1 million people. But if it goes straight across to Orlando, oh my God. Let's see what he chooses to wear for this one. Most people here not insured. For floods especially.
Clear.
Mary had a little lamb. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
In the final 4 weeks until the election, Vice President Kamala Harris ramping up her media appearances, cracking a beer with Stephen Colbert on late-night TV, but facing scrutiny for these comments on The View when asked what she would have done differently than President Biden over the last 4 years.
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Later saying she'd appoint a Republican to her cabinet.
That will be one of the differences. I'm going to have a Republican in my cabinet because I don't feel burdened by letting pride get in the way of a good idea.
Former President Trump and his campaign quickly seizing on the comments. Trump listing the border and inflation as issues during the Biden presidency and writing her dumbest answer so far. On Howard Stern's radio show, Harris responding to new reporting from journalist Bob Woodward in a forthcoming book obtained by NBC News. Woodward writes that at the height of the pandemic, Trump secretly sent COVID test machines to Russian President Vladimir Putin for his personal use, even as the U.S. and other countries faced shortages. Harris weighing in.
I believe that Donald Trump has this desire to be a dictator. He admires strong men, and he gets played by them because he thinks that they're his friends.
Yeah.
And they are manipulating him full time.
Woodward also reporting that Trump and Putin have had maybe as many as 7 phone calls since Trump left office. Trump telling ABC News the reporting on his calls to Putin and providing him test machines is false. But the former president defending his relationship with Putin yesterday.
I got along with him very well, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
How is it a good thing if the guy is murdering our allies? If a guy is literally killing tens of thousands of Ukrainians who are Democratic voters who want to be part of NATO, how is it a good thing to be friends with the guy who's doing that and not talk your friend into stopping the murder? Aren't you friends with Netanyahu too? Why don't you talk to him too? This is such garbage. It is. He's a garbage human being. He really is. He loves to see people suffer. He thinks that dictators are his friends. He really does. He thinks he can hang out with them. He thinks that, they're going to control the world together. And won't that be fun? And they play him because they know the cost of playing him is so low. It's lower than a bargain basement blue light special, which most of my audience will never experience. But know this, that's cheap. That's how cheap he is. All you got to do is flatter him, praise him, tell him he's the best looking body on the beach. Ew! But he really is that delusional where he's at his rallies now talking about that he was on the beach and it was the most beautiful body on the beach. No, I'm not kidding. He actually does say crap like that. And now he's, gone straight down. He's downshifted into Hitler crap, where you're supposed to blame the Jews if he loses. Yes, you're supposed to blame the Jews if he loses. And now he's talking about eugenics. He's actually including in his speeches that America is suffering from an influx of bad genes. That there's apparently a murder gene. And the murder gene is a specific gene that makes people murder people. I think you got the gist of that. And that it belongs in a certain, part of the world. People who are born in a certain part of the world actually have the murder gene. This is what he's saying. He wants to blame everything on immigration. He wants to blame everything, and including the hurricane. Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying that it's a plot. The whole weather thing is a plot. Everything that is happening in your world is it's being altered. It's being altered by George Soros. It's being altered by super Jewish space lasers. And you know what's really interesting? The only guy that's shooting crap into space is Donald Trump's best bro right now. Yes, Elon. And Elon was sitting talking to Tucker, whose best buddy is Putin, saying to him, hey, if Donald Trump doesn't win, we're kind of effed. Is what we are. We're effed. And I wonder how long my prison sentence is going to be. I wonder how long it's going to be. And last night I was watching CNN for a brief moment. I think I was taking my makeup off or something, and I had, my little, cotton ball in my hand, and I was doing, and I had Abby Phillips on. Okay, and Abby Phillips is sitting there, and one of the Democratic strategists was saying, hey, one of the big questions was, would you want to have a beer with Kamala Harris? Well, I would want to have a beer with Kamala Harris. I was listening to her on her Media Blitz, and she did The View. She did Howard Stern's show. She's going to be on with Colbert tonight. And so I would like to have a beer with her. She's just, the way that she, has these long conversations with people and is personable and smart and has plans and ideas and is consistently, for the people, and is consistently, her whole history is being a prosecutor. Kamala Harris, for the people. That's her, that's been the way she's introduced herself to juries made up of us, her whole prosecutorial life, right? I would like to have a beer with her. And so one of the Democratic strategists opened up a can of, I don't know what that was. It doesn't matter. It was the can. Ew. Okay, but it was a can of beer. And I love beer. I mean, I just do. It's the breakfast of champions. Who are we kidding here? Okay? I love a beer buzz on a Tuesday morning. Me and Sheryl Crow. So F you. All I want to do is have some fun. I don't think I'm the only one. I like a good beer buzz on Tuesday morning. I just, and all the good people washing their cars. It's where I actually function best. Anyway, She opened up a can of beer, and very serious Kara Swisher, who's very smart. I mean, she's brilliant, and she was there to comment on this bromance that's going on between Elon and Donald Trump, saying it's not going to end well. It just it can't. It's not going to. When Donald Trump realizes that Elon Musk and his plans they're not copacetic. They can't exist in the same universe together. Right, because Donald Trump wants to talk about batteries and things, with batteries catching fire, and him making the choice between a boat with a battery sinking and getting electrocuted or a shark, and he'll choose the boat with the battery and getting electrocuted because he's terrified of sharks. Well, Elon Musk has the boat with the battery. He's got the car with the battery that has been setting houses on the west coast of Florida on fire now. Seawater and lithium. Not a good mix. Not good. And so she said, their bromance is going to end badly. I think she's right. But anyway, in that great spirit of having a beer, Kara Swisher was like, that reminds me of high school, and I'm not drinking the beer. And I was like, so serious. Such a serious lesbian. So I just, it's sort of, it made me change the channel, even though her prediction was, solid and valuable and good. And, her podcast is like, it's worth millions. Just saying. So apparently that pays. I don't know. That and talking about sex is probably, the ticket to $125 million a year payday, which I will never see because I'm going to drown in my house tonight. Oh, my God. No, really, I just, wow. So here's what you have to do if you're staying, and I have done none of these things. You have to take in your patio furniture, everybody. You have to take your EV out of the garage and make sure it's 50 feet away from any place that could have standing water. Do that. Good luck with that. 50 feet away from any place that might have standing water. That means 50 feet away from the state of Florida. I wish you luck with that. You need a portable camping stove. Fill your tub so you could flush your toilet. Get a flashlight. Get some soap. Gonna need it. For what? To wash. Oh. Yeah, because it really is 90 degrees here. It really is. It's 1,000 degrees. We lose power here tonight. Oh, my God. By tomorrow, everyone, their hair is going to be glued to their head. People will be weeping. A bag of ice is going to sell for $15. Where's Kamala now? See, with the gouging. Truly.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
During the early days of the pandemic in 2020, then-President Donald Trump sent Russian President Vladimir Putin COVID-19 test machines.
What?
According to the new book, War, by Bob Woodward, who sat down with CBS Sunday Morning.
These are precious assets to anyone in the world and the country, and he gives it to him for his personal use.
Vice President Kamala Harris responded today during an interview with Howard Stern.
Everybody was scrambling to get these kits, the tests, the COVID test kits.
Couldn't get them.
Couldn't get them.
Right.
Couldn't get them anywhere.
Right.
And this guy who is president of the United States is sending them to Russia, to a murderous dictator for his personal use?
Even after he left office, Trump stayed in touch with the Russian leader, according to Woodward. He cites an unidentified Trump aide who said the former president had as many as 7 private calls with Putin, even one early this year when Trump was urging Republicans to block additional aid to Ukraine in its fight against Russia. The newly revealed contacts raise additional questions about Trump's relationship with Putin. In the recent presidential debate, Trump twice refused to say who he wanted to prevail in the war with Ukraine.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop.
The vice president told 60 Minutes Trump would have allowed Putin to conquer Ukraine.
Donald Trump, if he were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. He talks about, he can end it on day one. You know what that is? It's about surrender.
Woodward's book also includes tales of President Biden's private frustrations with the Israeli prime minister as the fighting in Gaza escalated earlier this year, saying that son of a bitch, Bibi Netanyahu, he's a bad guy. He's a bad effing guy.
Told ya.
Woodward, who rose to fame investigating Watergate, writes in the book, Trump was far worse than Richard Nixon. A Trump spokesman responded saying Woodward's reporting is not true and that Trump gave Woodward absolutely no access.
Oh, yeah. Now, just a question. Wouldn't you want Vladimir Putin to get COVID? Just saying. I just, do you remember how paranoid Putin was? He had that big, giant conference table. It was like, football field long, and it was white. And you had to sit like all the way at the opposite end of that, giant conference table if you wanted to sit down with Putin because he was terrified of COVID, terrified of it, right? And Donald Trump was telling people, go maskless. Masks don't work. Put bleach in your blood. Take some ivermectin, for God's sake. I'm on it right now. No. What was he on? He was on, what was the chloroquine?
Hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine. Take it. I'm on it right now. Try it. Right. Try it. In this creepy sort of a Dr. Frankenstein posture, because he did not know what he was doing, as he does not know what he's talking about with regard to rising oceans. Gives you more beachfront property, you see, in his weird mind, as if the man doesn't live on the beach. Holy crap, he can't even see what's, obviously in front of his face. Hey, that's the kind of judgment we need. He's my guy. He's the one for the job. Yeah, I mean, it's so sad and it's so sick and it's so twisted that this woman of incredible stature and accomplishment has to be questioned by the likes of MAGA. I mean, what hasn't she done? She's done everything, and she's done it right, and she's done it well. She's done it with class and style. She's done it almost effortlessly. Graduated from Howard University, went on to law school, became a district attorney, prosecuted cases for, Alameda County, then became the attorney general for the entire state of California, literally took apart international human trafficking rings. The things that Donald Trump wants to blame for everything. She actually did something about those things. She actually prosecuted methamphetamine rings from the Sinaloa cartel, heroin, fentanyl rings, human trafficking rings. She literally has cases that she prevailed in front of a jury. She presented evidence. She broke up cartels on her watch. That happened. And then she became a senator from the state of California, one of two people in a state of 44 million elected to the United States Senate to represent California, where she was able to land incredible punches on Brett Kavanaugh's sexual peccadillos and his obsession with women reproducing and passing laws about our body parts by asking him, which body parts does the government have any say or control or laws about in a man's body? Couldn't think of an answer because she's that awesome, okay? Bill Barr got him, backed into a corner, asking him, did he ever open up any investigation that Donald Trump asked him to open up against anybody? Anybody. Did Donald Trump ever ask for you to investigate somebody? He had trouble with the word ask. What do you mean? Did he ever ask? She said, did he ever suggest, infer, imply? Do you remember this? I mean, she has distinguished herself as okay, let's go over it one more time, a district attorney, an attorney general of the second largest Justice Department in the United States of America, California's DOJ. Okay. Then a senator from California, one of 44 million people to represent California in the United States Senate, right? up there in the pantheon of greatness with Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer, for God's sake. These are like amazing, awesome people, women people, and awesome. Okay, and then of all the people in all of this country, she was selected by Joe Biden to be his running mate. And they won in the face of an onslaught of lies from Piehole himself. And she has served as vice president. And she has done wonderful things as vice president. And when it comes to immigration, which they want her to apologize for, which, by the way, is lower today than it was during COVID when Donald Trump was president, the crossings, the encounters, lower today. Why would she apologize for going down to the Northern Triangle countries, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, to find out what the core reasons for people fleeing those countries are, and then work with those governments to fix that, which is what she did. And by doing that, immigration from the Northern Triangle Central American countries has come down to a trickle. A trickle. And now you got dictators in Venezuela and people are fleeing there. Can you imagine? We get a dictator here and you're fleeing, right? You're fleeing. Where are you going to go that will let you in? Ain't going to be Canada. And I don't know about Mexico anymore.
All in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, 35 after the last day that will be on Earth. No, it's not going to be that bad over here. But, I pretty much feel certain. Are you for imprint certain? I feel fairly certain that we'll lose electricity. And so, don't count on us being here tomorrow for you. I am sorry to say that, but that's what I want you to understand, that we're not dead. We're not sick. Maybe our houses were a little bit damaged. Maybe. I don't know. But we'll figure out a way. We'll figure out a way to communicate that to you tomorrow. But no, we're not going to probably be able to put the show on because there won't be any electric is what it is. Maybe I ought to hook it up to a Tesla. Maybe I should go collect everybody's Teslas from the storm surge area, and then just take our battery backups and hook them up to the Teslas and run our show off of that juice. Because otherwise they're just gonna catch fire. That's such a hitch in the get along, just to quote some old-timey, fun thing. No, really, it is a problem. Don't you think it's a problem with Elon Musk's entire business model? That you can't have his car in places where you have, it might interact with salt water? I mean, check the shape of the United States. It's not exactly landlocked, you see. So certain states are. I guess you're cool to own a Tesla in Iowa. I guess that's okay now, but not in Florida. Certainly not in New York. Not in California. Not not even in Galveston, Texas. No. Saltwater. It's like Elon Musk. It's almost like he's like the Wicked Witch of the West, And water, he's melting. His car, instead of melting, his car just catches fire. Goes out in a fireball. Crazy. Matt in New York.
Hi, Randi.
Hi, Matt.
I'm watching the radar, and it doesn't look like there's much of Florida that isn't going to feel a piece of this thing, so I hope you're safe.
Yeah, we're safe.
I wanted to share an experience. A friend of mine, he's turning 80 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. He picked me up Saturday. I help him out at his house and fix stuff for him, but he picked me up Saturday morning, and we got to Punta Gorda Sunday. And I tore out they had 5 inches of water in their little place in a 55-plus community type thing by a canal.
Yeah.
And they had 5 inches of water in their whole place, and they had just redone the whole thing. They've been there for years. So I tore out all their cupboards and molding or anything that was going to get mold. And so we gutted the whole place and set it in the Meridian, which is probably not a good place for it now. But and then we got news Monday that this was happening. And so we got evacuated, actually. And it was bumper to bumper for hours and hours and hours all the way to South Carolina before we even were able to move much. Could not find a hotel or a motel. We ended up sleeping in a rest area sleeping. We closed our eyes for a couple hours and continued on. And we got here last night about 6:30.
Oh, God.
But I feel so bad because his birthday's tomorrow, and he just kind of resigned to the fact that he's probably not going to have much of a place left if that storm surge gets up like they're explaining on that Weather Channel that you showed.
Oh, my God.
That was unbelievable, man.
It is. It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. And that is what they're saying for the entire West Coast. I mean, I'm looking at, how many feet of water. It's not a question of, will it? It's a question of how many feet will you get if you are in Tampa versus St. Petersburg versus Sarasota versus Punta Gorda. It's like unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's scary, man. His wife
horrible.
went into Sebring. His wife is in Sebring, and that doesn't even look very safe right now.
Oh, because she thought she'd be safe in the middle of the great giant penis? No, nobody's safe.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
No. So your guy didn't even live on the ocean. He lived on a canal. Did I hear that right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
We're all so screwed.
Yeah.
We're all so screwed. It's just unbelievable. It's an amazing. And we have a choice between Kamala Harris or a past president who really thinks that if the sea level rises, you will have more ocean.
Yeah. Wow. Imagine that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling.
This guy that I'm helping is a Republican that hates Trump.
Oh, good.
But his wife was telling me how all their FEMA money is getting given to immigrants, and they aren't going to have any money for Florida. So she's a little off the wall there still, but
there is no. Can we just say this again? Let's say this again. What happened with the money for the immigrants was that Border Patrol, Customs and Border Patrol transferred their money, $650 million, to FEMA to administer for housing for immigrants. That's the only reason why FEMA is anywhere in the sentence I just said, okay? FEMA's FEMA's disaster relief fund is like $650 billion. Actually, it's $35 billion. But it has nothing to do with the Custom and Border Patrol money, which was sent to FEMA to administer the housing for immigrants. Okay, it was. Yeah. It's just so sad. It's so sad.
No, I did a quick search for her. She said, "Oh, they're only going to give us $1 million," and I just searched and I go, "Well, it says here they got $147 million already."
Oh.
And she just wouldn't believe me, but well. And of course, I went to her friend's house and they had Fox News on, so that explains everything.
And they used to be the most right wing, and they're not even the most right wing anymore. So you could go
I know.
You could go way out there now. Now you could go all the way to space layers or Jewish ones. Woohoo! Let's just hang on, baby. It's going to be quite a ride. Well, listen, stay in New York as much as you can. It's a great place. It's as you know, I'm from there, and I love it there. Where are you there? Where are you?
I'm in Watkins Glen, up near Syracuse, where Brett's from.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's a long ride, though.
It's a long ride, and stay off the heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful.
Stay safe.
You too. Don't smoke any, strange joints because, there's the fentanyl.
Watkins Glen it's a dirt track Disneyland, mud and trucking, motocross.
I actually went to the concert there, the concert at Watkins Glen. I remember I went with Michael Bobstein. It was the band It was the Allman Brothers, maybe the Grateful Dead. I don't know. And all I had to eat was a big 6-pound can of fruit cocktail. Yeah. And a tab of acid. Yeah. Those were the days, my friends. We thought they'd never end. Yeah. Well, some things never change.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
The last few weeks, there's been a reckless, irresponsible, and relentless promotion of disinformation and outright lies that are disturbing people. It's undermining confidence in the incredible rescue and recovery work that has already been taken and will continue to be taken. And it's harmful to those who need help the most. There's simply no place for this to happen. Former President Trump has led the onslaught of lies. Assertions have been made that property is being confiscated. That's simply not true. They're saying people impacted by these storms will receive $750 in cash and no more. That's simply not true. Right. They're saying the money is needed for this crisis is being diverted to migrants. What a ridiculous thing to say. It's not true. Now the claims are getting even more bizarre. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman from Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's got to stop. In moments like this, there are no red or blue states. There's one United States of America, where neighbors are helping neighbors. Volunteers and first responders are risking everything, including their own lives, to help their fellow Americans. State, local, and federal officials are standing side by side. Let me repeat, no one should make the American people question whether their governments will make sure that this disaster when it strikes, they'll be there. We will, all of us.
You know, for all of his inability to be anything but the mushmouth that he is as far as public speaking, the man is the most decent, most effective, seriously, president we have had in forever. In forever. You look at what has been doled out to him to deal with. COVID, broken supply chains, a border crisis, okay? You look at the economy crashed. Again, I mean, why is it always that a Democratic administration has to come in and clean up the mess from the previous Republican administration? It's always the way Democrats get elected, is because the Republicans have effed it up so hard and so bad and for so long, people can't take the chaos anymore. And they say, all right, I'll vote for a Democrat, let them come and clean it up. And they always freaking do. Always. And then you have the nerve to say, they didn't do it fast enough, or they didn't do it the way I wanted it done, or he made a decision that I didn't produce as much of a great result as I wanted. Only some of the great result that I wanted was there in that solution to that problem. You know, I swear to God, and when I hear things like Donald Trump in the midst of COVID, when he was telling us to, put laser lightsabers up our asses, okay, as a cure to get the light inside, to disinfect our lungs or some such crap. The only thing shocking to me about finding out that he was sending COVID tests to Vladimir Putin, who you would think that as an adversary of the United States of America, as even a competitor in the oil and gas industry to the United States of America, you would think that you would want him to get COVID, and stop considering dictators as your pals, as your buddies, as your friends, especially when they're occupying portions of Ukraine when you're president of the United States. However, set that aside. The shocking thing about that story is that Donald Trump helped anybody. That's the shocking part. That Donald Trump knew that testing was a smart thing to be doing for COVID because he told us to stop testing. Don't you remember? Yeah, he said that we should stop testing, that the only reason why the cases were going up, that the numbers of cases were going up is because the testing was being done. And if we just would stop the testing, we wouldn't have new cases every single day. Sure, we'd see people dying, and sure, they wouldn't have room for them at the hospital, and sure, they wouldn't have room for them at the morgue, and we would still have had refrigerated freezer trucks keeping the bodies cold. so that, they didn't decompose and smell bad in the city. But the testing was the problem, right? This is the kind of leadership that people still crave, that they still want, need, and have to have. I'm telling you right now, the only surprising thing is that he actually helped anybody. Anybody. Now, I'm not surprised it was a fellow, oligarch, or it was an autocrat. Not surprised that that's who he picked to help, but that he helped somebody is a kind of a noteworthy scenario. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris was on with Howard Stern yesterday and just saying that the stakes in this election, which I just showed you just one example of what's on the line here, are so high that she loses sleep thinking about it.
I literally lose sleep and have been over what is at stake in this election. I mean, honestly, I end the day pretty much every day these days asking myself, what can I do more?
Yeah. And what can you do?
The stakes are so high. Ultimately, I do believe that this is an election that is about strength versus weakness.
Yeah.
And weakness as projected by someone who puts himself in front of the American people and does not have the strength to stand in defense of their needs, their dreams, their desires, the work that must happen to make sure that we are a secure nation, that we are nurturing and protecting our alliances around the world, that we are supporting America's military, that we are fighting to bring the cost of living down for working families, that we are building businesses, building growth.
Did you ever think in your lifetime you would see a Republican not supporting NATO and wanting to disassemble NATO? I mean, what world do we live in? And this
NATO,
is all weird.
NATO, which is the greatest military alliance the world has ever known.
It's what my
you
father's
talk about strength?
Yeah.
That is strength to embrace that alliance as America, as Americans. And he would walk away because he admires dictators.
And sends them COVID tests instead of just letting them figure it out for their own countrymen. Now, oh God, I honestly, I felt for her. I really felt her. I felt she was so genuine and so vulnerable in that interview with Howard Stern, because that's the beauty of Howard. That is not my Howard Stern. That is the gift that is Howard Stern. That is the gold that is Howard Stern. That is he is a majestic person. I know him a little bit. He's very, very, very kind. He's a very, very kind person. I know that because when I was nobody and nothing, he was kind to me. And that's when you would want somebody like that to be kind to you. And he was. And he was kind to me even after, he saw I had a little success. He was kind to me about that. But the two of them together, I mean, the rapport that he always has with people he's interviewing. He had it with Donald Trump for years and years. I mean, Donald Trump was one of his go-tos, okay? Because Donald Trump was a crass, crude. You could say my daughter, my own daughter, has a great rack to me, to my face as her father, and I will let you do it. That's how grotesque a person Donald Trump is. And Howard Stern was always able to show the true nature of Donald Trump.
But he did it with Donald. He came to Donald as if he was a friend or some kind of
at the beginning. But then
and he lured Trump in. Really good interviews.
I think what happened there, though, honest to God, was that when Donald Trump started to allow Howard Stern to talk about his daughter as a sexual object, I think it grossed Howard Stern out, because Howard Stern is the father of two beautiful girls, okay? And although his marriage to Allison, ended and he's now with Beth, and they've been together for almost as long, if not longer, okay? These are long marriages. He's a person who, if he loves you, okay? And I know that guy because that's the guys that my first husband and Howard, right? My Howard. They're that guy. And I know what that guy is. It's a beautiful thing. But I think once Trump allowed him to he let Howard Stern call his daughter a piece of ass. I think Howard lost all respect for him and just saw him as filler. Do you know what I mean? Like a guest that he could fill hours with, talking about gross things, because that's fun too. People want to criticize, that Howard talks about gross things. Howard talks about sex. Yeah, well, so apparently does this other girl with her, $125 million deal, which shocks the crap out of me. But, that's fun too. It is. People have gotten so, I don't want to say uptight, but they have gotten so politically correct that, having fun now, it has to fit into the politically correct, but, F that. Go have fun. You know why? Could be your last day to have fun. So please excuse us for the next day, maybe two, while we wait for the storm. QAnon people, the storm is here. While we wait for it to pass. Go with God. Good luck, everybody. See you on the other side.